Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Well, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hello and welcome to Slamfire Radio. This is episode 299 for April 11th, 2019. I'm one of your hosts, Adriel Michaud.
I'm another one, Trevor Furlot.
And I'm another one, Kelly Lynn.
And we have another one that might show up in a bit here. That'll be Matthew.
Slacker.
He was sleeping
McFly.
in.
We should
Change
change
his homework.
We should change his name to McFly because he's a slacker, just like his old man.
McFly. There we go.
He is updating the
Done. It's in the show notes. So
It's legal now. It's like totally legally binding.
Yep. He has to be introduced as McFly now.
Yep.
Make sure to yell it when he comes on.
Yeah.
McFly!
You're a slacker, McFly, just like your old man.
All right. We got it.
Okay. I was going to say, so who does that make you if you're saying you're a slacker just like your old man?
The bald principal. Duh.
Okay.
And not up on your Back to the Future references, huh, Kel?
Yeah, but no, isn't that Bert or Burf? What is his name?
Biff.
Biff, that's it. Are you Biff?
No. Oh. Biff says, "Hello, McFly." Tap on the head.
Yeah.
Man.
And then he can become this bald and fat later in life.
Of course.
Later in life?
Yeah, well, he wasn't bald. Can we move on?
Yes. Let's please move on. All right. What we did in guns this week is brought to you by the Calgary Shooting Center, Canada's premier firearms retailer. Right now, they're clearing out Leupold scopes. Leopold?
Oh, please don't say Leopold. King Leopold the Third, the VX3 scopes is what they're selling over there. They're knocking off about, from the looks of it, about 100 or 2 or 3 or 4, depending on how expensive they are. So go check out their clearance on Leupold scopes. Trevor, did you want to start us off with what you did in guns this week? Yes, please. I was at Denise, last Friday and last Saturday, and again on Monday, doing some parkerizing. So the Long Branch I bought a couple of weeks ago, probably almost a month or more now. Anyway, for the listeners that follow me on Instagram, they will be aware of the millwork that Captain Andy did to the receiver. It came with it was cool. It was a complete Long Branch, a military police Long Branch, by the way. How cool is that? I probably mentioned that 100 times already, but whatever. I also open carried in Utah once. So Captain Andy plugged the holes that were poorly drilled into the receiver and blended them so that they were seamless. And I took it to Denise to get all of the metal bits and the barreled receiver parkerized. So did that. And about a year ago, actually exactly a year ago, I looked at the date I put on the tag. I brought Captain Andy's number 5 Lee Enfield, also known as his Jungle Carbine, to Denise to refinish because unfortunately it rusted while it was left in his truck. And he probably didn't want me to tell anybody that. Anyway, Captain Andy let a gun rust. What are you going to do? It's out there now. And so I felt awful and offered to refinish.
That in the Atlantic provinces, guns just instantly rust unless they're like slathered in oil. So it's just sea air and sea water just pouring over everything all the time.
As dry as the Sahara is, Atlantic Canada is wet. So yes, that's right, Adriel. If you don't keep them constantly covered in Cosmoline or Ballistol, they rust instantly. That's true. It's a scientific fact. Everyone knows that. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we did those, and mistakes were made. Unfortunately, I forgot a piece. I forgot the front barrel band on top of the shelf next to the polishing wheel. I was just going to sandblast everything. There was some pitting that was really bad, and we never intended to completely remove all that pitting. We were just going to blend it and sandblast it and parkerize it and call it good. He was not after like a complete restoration. We just wanted to get the rust off and put a new finish on it. He was fine with that level of repair. So while I'm polishing one part on the polishing wheel, probably the barrel, I've got the barrel band or the handgun band on a shelf, and it gets hot. So you put it down, you let it cool, and then you work on another part, and it gets hot. You put it down, and you let it cool. Anyway, so I forgot that one piece. So we parkerized everything for my long branch, for his number 5, except for that one piece. Well, we're not going to heat up the parkerizing tank again just for one piece. I mean, that would be ridiculous. It would probably take a full 45 minutes, right? So I used that as an excuse to bring in my M1 Garand in 308. So I built this at Buddy's place, and the barrel didn't work out because it didn't pass the no-go gauge. And so the other gunsmith that who does work for me, Filthy's buddy, who built my M1 Garand and did some accurizing work to my M14, he tipped me off to a Canadian retailer that had M1 Garand barrels in 308 in stock for 100 or so less than the other one I was looking at. I was looking at Aztec Armory. They had them for $280 US. It's a Canadian site, but their prices are in US.
Mm-hmm.
It came exactly to 308, which was kind of funny, I thought. And then once the conversion and stuff was done, it was almost $400. It's getting crazy. And so Tradex actually had a different brand. These were Citadel barrels. The other one was Criterion. And Criterion, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is what's on my 30-06. So anyway, I brought all that to Denise and sandblasted it all, and we're going to parkerize that at the same time. So the receiver and the barrel, or all the metal bits, are all going to match, and it's in a new Boyd stock. So it should look pretty sharp. It's going to be looking like a brand new, fresh off the line Garand. So I'm looking forward to that. Only I did do one thing. Full disclosure, I'm not a gunsmith, but I often pretend to be one. And you don't know what you don't know, and sometimes you forget stuff from lack of experience. I obviously, when you sandblast a barrel, you got to plug the breech and you got to plug the muzzle. But I forgot to plug the gas port, and there's this special kind of tape you wrap around the gas port, and then you start sandblasting. And that was almost done the job when I realized that mistake. So I don't know. Did I destroy the rifling in that area?
And what's the sandblasting going to do to the seal? Probably nothing, actually.
Yeah. I could have made the port larger, sandblasting, right? I could have made it out of spec. I don't know. It's not sand. It's aluminum something or other. It's like $100 a bag or more. It's not cheap stuff, but it's not sand. So I'm calling it sand, but it's not sand. It's aluminum.
Were you bead blasting it?
No, it's in a sandblasting tank,
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
no, but I mean, bead is like this glass bead kind of a thing. No, that's a little bit less abrasive, and I've done a couple guns like that, and it puts them in the white like you've got there, but it doesn't take off as much material as sandblasting.
Okay,
takes longer though.
Yeah, this takes long too when the hose unhooks and you don't realize you're just blowing air in your parts because you're dumb. That's the thing. Yeah.
Man, why isn't it doing anything? I like the look of a blasted and parkerized gun. It's especially that manganese park there. Yeah, that grayish stuff. I think it looks good on like a military M14 or something like that, or a 1911. I think it looks great.
Well, that's what my my M1 Garand in 308 is going to look like, and that's what my long branch looks like. So you guess you'll be happy with those guns, yeah. So
and it's easy enough to hide like rust damage with that because it puts a super matte finish on it, right?
Yeah, it does hide pitting fairly well. So you got to look hard to find some damage, but the markings are still there perfectly. The 1943 long branch, the M and P, it's all still there. So. And then I got to work finally, and hopefully I'll continue here, get some motivation and get these things finished. I started building the stages for SummerSlam using that 3D kit of mine. So I got the first 4 stages done, and I was kind of worried about submitting them for sanctioning because with the drawing, I can actually add, I can label my targets: T1, T2, T3, P1 for popper 1, MP for mini popper, right? So, you take a photo and then you've got to open the photo in some kind of software where you can do the same thing. So that's what I did. I actually used the same software that I used to use before to design my stages. It's software that runs the smartboard in my classroom. It's called Smart Notebook. And my stage descriptions are created in there as well, like the box with all the text, start position, firearm ready, condition, number of rounds, all that stuff. Yeah. So that's already in the template. And then I delete all the old stuff, which was like Photoshop stuff or Microsoft Word stuff that was copied and pasted in there, like, like little images of your targets and your props and stuff. Delete all that and insert the photo I took on my phone of the stage I designed using these 3D things. And then I can superimpose text on top of the image. So target 1, target 2. And so, if I want to tell the shooters and the people sanctioning these stages that popper 2 activates swinging target T3, well, above the prop, I've superimposed a T3. Above that popper, I've imposed, so it's working out great. I just got to finish them now. So what else? Oh, I'm also working on getting everyone registered for Black Badge. So anyone who registers for Black Badge in New Brunswick, yay me, I get to do the registration. So the reason why we're doing it this way is to expedite the paperwork that the instructors have to deal with both before and after the course. So anyone anywhere in New Brunswick wants to shoot a Black Badge, they email IPSC New Brunswick, say, I'd like to shoot a Black Badge. So I fire them off an introduction to what the Black Badge is, what it costs, the prerequisites, all the information they need to know prior to signing up, as well as a registration form for the Black Badge and an IPSC New Brunswick membership application. All right, they get all that. If they're on board, they send me back $150 and they send me the registration form and the IPSC membership. And then I send them a confirmation letter pertaining to the specific course that they're taking. You'll be at Chaz. Your lead instructor will be Adriel. The classroom portion will take place on this date at this location from this time to this time. The qualification drills will take place on Chaz's range Saturday at this time, Sunday, there'll be a level 2 match from this time to this time, and then you're done. Go away. See you on the range. So I do that for every class. And then the next part of the process is each of these classes has a different date. So each of them has a different deadline. So 2 weeks prior to the commencement of the course, I will then forward all this information to the instructors. They will then create the certificates, order the pins, and that's it. They already have the manuals. They already have their Black Badge. They already have the Black Badge manuals to give to the students. They already have the rule books that they need. They just got to show up with that stuff, put on the course, and then teach on the range the next day and organize a level 2 match. And Robert's your father's brother. You're done.
Cool. Can you say the line?
I'm sorry, which line?
Matthew's here.
Oh, McFly, you slacker.
There we go.
You're a slacker, McFly, just like your old man.
All right, cool. Here I am finally.
It sounded so much funner when we rehearsed it a while ago.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time talking about it, a lot more than.
I'm glad it went poorly then.
It went super poorly. You're late because you're a slacker. You're a slacker like your old man, McFly. Your new name was
nothing
McFly.
like the slacker who forgot his laptop at work today, though.
Oh, burn.
Was I on time? Was
I
I
don't
on
care
time?
about whether you're on. Where's your video? Let me see your video.
I can't show you my video. I'm reading my show notes. So, anyway, also planning a CRO course and an RO course. The CRO course is this weekend. The RO course is the weekend after that. So I'm preparing the materials for those. And also planning the inaugural, well, I guess it's a pilot course of CCFR's new RSO program. So we talked about it before and people started like freaking out. Like apparently some Sean guy, I can't remember his last name, some guy from Saskatchewan. Anyway, I don't know. I don't really know him, but he's getting asked about it a lot.
You can't see me raising my hand. Go ahead.
So anyway, people heard us talk about it on the show and now they want in. So, patience. This is the pilot course. Then we got to finalize our registration process and our certificates and all that stuff. And then the Sean guy, myself, and Greg Weiss, we're not going to be teaching the classes. We're going to be teaching the instructors. They will then go and teach the classes. So it's a little ways off, right? We're going to be the master learning facilitators. We're going to train learning facilitators. They're going to train range safety officers. So I really appreciate everybody's enthusiasm. Please continue to be patient as we work through the process of developing this course. If you are a CCFR field officer in anywhere and would like to sit in on the course to become the first group of trained CCFR RSOs, we do need people to teach. So we are opening up this to our, it's free to a CCFR field officer who wants to take it. So we got a couple coming. So it's cool. Gallon's coming, which is nice. I bought two guns.
If you let Gallon in, you'll let anyone in.
That's not true. Some people are even told it's sold out in full, because it is, if you're the wrong person asking me. I don't even care anymore. Like, fire me, please. I bought two guns. So there's that.
What'd you buy?
I bought a 590A1 Mariner. So it comes in this cool. So it's 590A1 Mariner Flex.
Do you use it in the marine, like in a marine environment?
Absolutely. It will not function anywhere else. You have to be in a dinghy. You have to be shooting pirates, seals, and whales.
So is it a mariner then, or a mariner?
Listen.
We're waiting for the answer. Editing? Which one is it?
Who's editing?
We're
live, right? I shouldn't swear when we're live.
Oh, swear when we're live. Oh,
yeah, it's whatever the F I want it to be. Anyway, shut up. It's the Flex. So the pistol grip collapsible stock comes off, and then you can put on a regular stock, or you can put on a pistol grip stock. So it's a takedown model, and it comes in this really cool bag that has a water resistant zipper. And then that bag fits inside a waterproof bag. And there's a not backpack straps, but a shoulder strap for it. There's actually, I think the bag is designed to have the gun sit attached to the side of the bag itself, because there's like a pouch for the muzzle, like a sleeve for the muzzle to go in, and then two elastic Velcro straps that hold the gun to the side of the bag. So that's kind of cool.
It's really cool. It's a really practical way of packaging up a gun in a really portable little setup.
Exactly. So you've seen those shell caddies that Velcro on the side of your gun. So you put like the loop part on the side of the gun, and the hook part actually has the holder for the shells. So you can take a bunch of those, fill them with whatever you want, birdshot, slugs, buckshot, and put them in there, and then pull out the gun and stick on whatever one you want for whatever job you got to do. So I've got one so far, one of those cards ready to go, and then I've just got a box of birdshot, 2 boxes of slugs, 2 boxes of buckshot. That's all in the bag itself, and then the gun is trigger locked, and that all just gets tossed into the vehicle. So your
vehicle being a boat of some sort, of course.
I got to get it to the boat somehow, right?
Right. Good point.
Yeah. So until I buy a boat,
you'll just have to make do with this Mariner.
You guys are total Richards. Mariner.
Whatever.
What is Mariner?
Funnier both ways.
Isn't it Mariner? Now I really want to know. There you go. What did I say?
You said, I don't know what you
said. Mariner.
I don't care what you said.
What are you going on?
It's just funnier to make you think you said Mariner.
Well, you did. I hope you're happy. The next
I am. You don't even know how happy I am.
You're right. I don't. And that's because I didn't ask, and I'm not going to. Don't care. The next gun I bought was the new CZ P10F. F as in frig you guys. Oh, no, sorry. That's wrong. It stands for full size. And it is definitely full size. Like,
you like it?
I love it. It's very ergonomic, like any other CZ. The trigger is fantastic. The trigger is as good as an HK or a Walther. It's right up there with the best striker fire triggers there was. Okay, Kelly, you asked me if I like it. The best way I can describe it to you is, do you remember? Of course you remember. You all remember. FN. Oh my God, I love the FN. The FN is the greatest striker fired pistol of all time. It's so comfortable and shoots so good. Blah, 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 blah. It's better than the FN.
Cool.
Way better than the FN. It's got
a usable trigger.
It's got a very usable trigger. The trigger is excellent for a striker fired gun. It's like I said, it's on par with the H&K SPF 9 SPF. Wait, no, that's sunscreen.
I don't know.
40.
SPF 40.
SPF. I don't think it comes in 40. So, and it's also at and the
Have
Walther.
you shot it yet?
I have not shot it yet.
Oh, well, shoot it, and then you can.
Thank
really
you, Kelly.
Evaluate it.
That's good. Yes. This is called.
I too recommend you shoot your new gun.
You guys are too kind. This is called first impressions, right? So, fit and finish is excellent. The ergonomics are excellent. It comes with 3 back straps, small, medium, and large. Came with the small installed, and not immediately, once I realized what the problem was, I put the large one on there, and very comfortable. The beaver tail is incredible. It's the best beaver tail of any striker fired pistol there is. Like, your hand is literally up underneath the slide. It's amazing. The mags, if you lived in a place that was free, would easily hold, gotta be 17, maybe even 19 rounds, because the grip is so long. Some people might have a problem with this, but this is the full size. This is not a compact. This is a full size duty gun. The grip is so big. There's easily
How big
room.
is it?
It's
It'd
so
be
big.
nice if we
There-
had video.
Pictures.
Follow me on Instagram. They're on Instagram.
Ah,
Have I mentioned you should follow me on Instagram?
No.
So
It's a 19 capacity magazine, 21 with the extended bases,
they're
which I
amazing.
think you've got on there. That's a lot. That's a lot of extra space that we're not using here in Canada.
There's room under for an entire finger. Like, if I had 5 fingers and 1 thumb, I could get them all on this gun. It's crazy. So, you take the slide off the same way you do with a Glock. It has ambidextrous slide stop or slide release, reversible magazine release. It has the same style of safety on the trigger as the Glock, only better designed. It doesn't feel cheap and like it's going to stop working in an hour. The sights, you can rack off your belt or your boot or the table, the rear sight that is. There's dovetails and set screws, so you can replace them and move them and whatever you want. There is already on the some compact models come with a orange ring around the tritium, like Matthew has on his Glock. This one came with just straight white 3 dots. So I will be filling in the back 2 dots very quickly. And the second I find out which fiber optic front sight fits, that's what I'm going to be doing. It looks like it would take a Shadow 1 front sight, and I may have one because on my Shadow 1, I replaced it with a Shadow 2. So if this takes Shadow 1 or Shadow 2, who cares? Shadow 2 is a lot higher, though. It looks more like the height of a Shadow 1. It will only make sense if they would make the dovetail the same as their other guns. That would be too smart not to do. So I'm hoping that's the case. I'm hoping I could put a Shadow front sight on there. So this would be my new gun for training classes and stuff like that. And I'm hoping hopefully by the fall, I'll have the compact as well to throw in the bug out bag. So this will be like sitting in the gun room kind of thing. And then I'll have an identical one in the bug out bag, especially if the mags are compatible. That's the thing with the Glock 19, right? It'll take Glock 17 mags. So if you've got
that is a nice thing about it.
heck yeah, and I've got a ton of Glock mags, right? Especially now that my PCC takes Glock mags. So, and then 2 other things: Maple Ridge Armory, which you all know I love.
Harmony.
They make all kinds of stuff. They make all kinds of AR parts, AR uppers. I'm not sure. Do they even make a lower? Do they make a whole rifle? I don't think they make a lower, but they make a lot of great stuff. They make barrels, handguards, uppers, all kinds of accessories for ARs. I use their handguards and their barrels, and got their handguard on my 3-gun rifle. I got their handguard on my SLR. I got their barrel on my SLR. I got their muzzle device on my SLR. Now on my Stag 10, I have their handguard. So it's essentially the same handguard that they came out with the V1, but for
X1.
AR-10.
Yeah,
It's called the X1. Okay.
Yeah, and that one's good for the Stag 10 or the BCL.
Yep. Spendy, but that's okay. I deserve it. So.
I mean, yes. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, right. Thanks. All right. That's it for me. Who's next? Oh, no, sorry. Got one more thing. I increased the length of pull on my WK because I put the fixed Magpul MOE stock on there, which made the length of pull short, but really increased the aesthetics of the WK. The WK is very square, very blocky, very chunky, and a lot of people don't like the way the back of the rifle looks where the stock attaches to the receiver. And when you go to the Magpul MOE fixed stock, it really cleans up those lines, but it gives you a short length of pull. So I added a spacer in there, which is just another receiver end plate, and I added the 0.80 thick Magpul
PRS butt pad.
PRS butt pad. Thank you. That's what I put on there. And yeah, man, the length of pull is perfect.
Perfect.
Sweet. I'm glad to hear because I've got that exact same combo coming in for my my WK. I'm gonna run the fixed stock. Looks nice. I don't even know if our listeners know what the price is on these things. They're like $45-$50. They're a cheap
super
Magpul
cheap.
stock.
Yep.
They're fixed, so they don't move, but they look good. You don't have to worry about any wiggle because they're fixed. And with the extra butt pad or a spacer like Trevor put in there, it's a great length to pull.
Cool.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, I think you'll be happy, Joel. Would you? Well, it's already on the way, so it doesn't matter. I was going to say, would you like me to measure it to tell you what
Nah.
the new? All right.
Nah, it's gonna be great. I believe.
Cool.
I guess it takes it to me.
Yep.
All right. On Saturday, I went out and shot some gophers with my
Oh,
older
I
son.
hate you. Stop it.
No one cares. Gophers should live.
Yeah.
Gophers
Think
should
of the
live.
gophers. How many did you get?
I got like 15, 20.
Who'd you take with you?
My older son.
Cool. How'd he like it?
He did pretty well. So I thought like
He's
I
a
thought
good
he
little
wouldn't-
shooter.
yeah, I thought he wouldn't be able to get. I thought he'd get like one. Is what
Right.
really what I thought. I'd put him in front of a whole bunch of stuff. He wouldn't be able to get steady enough and take a shot on him. But he managed to. And if I would have thought about it before, I would have brought a bipod. But he just monopoded off of his 25 round mags on his 795, and he cranked 10 gophers easy,
Nice.
easy 10.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and it's really decently accurate, which is really encouraging because it's something I've been like working on him with is accuracy, and he got some gophers. Oh, I love hunting gophers. I love just heading out to a field and just like sitting out in the field, especially early in the year like this.
It's
So good.
the most fun you can have with a firearm so far.
Yep.
All the things
Yeah.
I've done, like it
Yeah,
is.
it is. It's up there.
Yep, you're out in the fresh air. You're getting fresh air. You're getting sunlight. You're with your buddies. You're doing the farmer a service. It's challenging, but it's also a very target-rich environment, so you get lots of reinforcement. It's not like sitting for hours in a tree stand and seeing one animal that's not on your tag that you can't shoot.
Yeah, or going to a match and waiting for an hour and then shooting for a minute and then waiting for an hour and then shooting for a minute. This is like just real consistent, constant. Oh, there's a gopher. Okay, I'm going to move over here, get in line with it, and sit down there for 5 minutes and maybe poke one or two, and on to
Well,
the
how
next
about this,
thing.
Pedro? You go to a 7-stage match and you average 30 seconds a stage. You're there all day, and you had a total of 2 minutes and 10 seconds trigger time.
Yep. Very intense trigger time.
Yeah. In
But,
that 2 minutes and 10 seconds, you shot over 100 rounds.
Yeah. So love gopher hunting. I brought my 17 WSM out, and that makes them. A couple like did some 2 feet up in the air jumps after you smoked them, kind of a thing. So
Nice.
Carnage. You split any in two?
yes, yeah, that's easy enough to do with that thing, and you can tell when you hit them because the mist comes out. Lots of fun. My BCL parts came in, so BCL their Signs of Life, they emailed me, called me, all the things, and then they sent me a new extractor, spring and donut,
It's
a
a
new
replacement, not new.
well, the parts were
Well,
new.
they're new.
Yeah.
Fine.
Parts.
Not newly redesigned.
No, they don't
They're
look
the same.
redesigned. The ejector and spring looked about the same. The gas rings were new, and the gas rings are a lot more like they seal now, whereas before they were quite loose fit on the BCG. I don't know if it's going to be like that after running a dozen rounds through it, but I am going to take it to the range this weekend and find out.
Try
And
it.
I'm gonna bring my other ejector with me too, so that if it doesn't work, I can just throw that other ejector in there and call it a day, right? Did the Maple Seed IAT call to help set up for the Maple Seed events coming up this year in and around Edmonton. I've got a 3-gun match coming up on Saturday here, so I've been designing stages and that kind of thing with that. And I'm not going to show this on camera because then you're going to see the coupon code on there. But I've got a gift certificate with Reliable Gun. I'm not really sure what to get. So if you're live on YouTube, maybe throw some suggestions out there and maybe I'll take you up on it because I don't really know what I want to get.
Cleaning supplies.
I've got cleaning supplies from like 10 years ago that I'm still not through. I've still got like barrel solvent or oil seems to last like so for forever. I could always use more bore brushes because
Mm.
What
those
about like I don't know ammo?
could always get more. I am pretty flush up on ammo. I could get some more 22. No, I shouldn't get some more 22.
You got a lot of
There's
22.
no such thing as too much.
Yeah.
That's not
Once you
true.
get into the tens of thousands of rounds, it's probably too much.
I
Tell him,
just-
Matthew. Tell him, Matthew. Tell him when it's too much.
It's there is well
When the
okay. there's
shelves
two-
break?
no,
when you use
you're-
the ammo
when
as
you're-
the shelf.
when you're swimming.
Or on
That's
fire.
the only time you have too much ammo is when you're
Or-
swimming
Or on fire.
or on fire.
It's like Scrooge McDuck when you like do the dive into and
Yes.
it's all just like ammo.
Yes. Yep.
Instead of gold coins, it's 22 ammo.
That's right. That's the beginning.
Hmm.
That's
I might
like a
do
good
that.
safe amount.
I for the Marlin 795 when we were doing Gophers, we had some Winchester Wildcat, and that stuff is not good. I have I have a few thousand rounds of it, unfortunately, but the only way I can get rid of it is using it shooting it. Yeah, it's kind of frustrating because it causes stoppages. Because I'm not a super big fan of Winchester 22 ammo, and they're just like the price is right, but the quality is not that great. But
Adriel, when you're done, come back to me for a second.
I'm done.
Okay. I forgot to mention the cost of my CZ P10.
Oh yeah, yeah. You
They're
gotta tell us.
They're $550.
Yeah, like the thing is that price point is so competitive. I think that must be something that CZ's doing in Canada, because we've talked before about how the Shadow is priced really low here in Canada, and some of the other CZ firearms are priced low here. I wonder if that's what they're doing with that P10F as well, because that's way cheaper than it should be for the quality you're getting here.
Yep, it's an $800 gun.
Well, I would say that the quality would be higher than an MMP, and the MMP is about the same price, and the quality is probably higher than a Glock, and it's priced way less than a Glock here.
Way less. Yep, it's $100 less than an MMP.
Yeah,
Like you're somewhere just above the Gersan and the Smith & Wesson SVE STI syphilis gun. So, but you only get 2 mags. So you turn around, you buy a $550 gun with 2 mags. I hope the mags aren't $75 a piece when they hit the market.
no,
And then
CZ's usually pretty reasonable in their mags. Like even for the Shadow, the Mekar mags they sell for them are like $35.
yeah, and the CZ branded ones are only like $10 more. So
CZ, Trevor, CZ.
it makes more sense to say Z. I'm sorry, Matthew.
Uh,
More efficient. It's more efficient.
Triggered.
Yeah,
Kelly, what are
so,
you up to?
had
Oh,
to
sorry,
mention-
go ahead.
No, it's good. We're done. Go ahead, Kelly.
Okay.
Do you want to go with Matthew first, or
We'll come back to
we
him.
all know Matthew didn't do anything in guns this week.
Did you shoot it? How many Gophers did you shoot? How many tens of Gophers did you shoot?
Tens of none.
Tens of none?
Tens of
Groundhogs? Did you
none.
see
No
any?
groundhogs either, unfortunately.
Conversion rate?
We got another half foot of snow the other day. It's terrible.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's almost all gone again. So
Good.
We're getting closer.
okay. Hopefully it'll be gone by the time I get there. I just don't want it to be snow
Yeah.
out when
It'll
it's done.
barely be gone.
In June.
Yeah,
Barely.
Wow.
We can still have a snowball fight if
You're-
you want.
you're actually here on May 31st, Kelly, and
I know.
we don't get on the range until the last. There will still be snow on the range when you do your maple seed. I guarantee it, because we get on the range to start building for the last SummerSlam match, and like there's a video of me shooting on the range May 22nd. There's still snowbanks all over the place.
How soggy is it?
Where you are, depending, it could be very soggy.
Awesome. Wear your layers, I guess. I don't know. Layers?
Boots.
Rain
You want
gear,
Boots.
Boots.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's soggy here too. Kingston's not getting any snow, but Ottawa got dumped on this week, so I'm ready for it to be spring
Yeah.
finally.
It's almost June.
Maybe, yeah, I was thinking that. It's probably going to go right into summer. We're not going to have any spring whatsoever. I'm just ready for it to be warm. What did I do in guns this week? I went to SFRC. I went and ordered some ammo. Yeah, I'm really running low on 22 ammo, so I needed to order some. And then they're usually who I get the ammo from, but they haven't gotten any in lately. So I'm looking for the Aguila high velocity. That's what runs nicely in my gun. So I've ordered some of that. And what else did I? Oh, I bought some guns from Trevor. Thank you, Trevor.
You're welcome.
I had to. He still has them on his walls right now. He hasn't shipped them to me yet. But
It's funny,
these,
everybody else that bought a gun got them shipped
yeah. I wonder why.
because they provided me with an address like right away.
Okay, seriously, as I said, you should know my address. But if you didn't, why didn't you say something?
Because I don't see it as my responsibility. You want me to mail them to you, you got to provide me your address. I'm in no
Well,
hurry to
I
get it myself.
assumed. I send you.
Oh,
things.
you did what? You assumed? Oh, Kelly,
Yeah, I know.
kiss of death.
So what I bought from Trevor was I bought those 1022s that he's selling. So the camo one that has a little bit of the upgrades, and then I also bought the original.
Zero upgrades. Who told you there were upgrades?
Oh, I thought there was upgrades on it.
It's
Oh
been
no, they're all
sold.
coming out.
I
You're
need
getting
I need-
whatever's like
I need
left
a
over.
discount now.
You got a discount. You got a bundle price. You got a two like it's been Cerakoted. That's the only upgrade. It's got sling studs. That's your upgrade.
Wow, that's awesome. We're going to be using at least the camo one for loaner rifle at Maple Seed events, but we might. I don't know what we're going to do with the one that is all original.
Rub it in.
Well, you can always buy it back if you want at a good price.
Yeah.
What else did we do? We released some of the Maple Seed events. We originally released them to the ranges, and the ranges got them for a week. So now, as of today, we sent out the ones that are prior to July 1st. We sent those out to our Project Maple Seed members. After that, after a couple of days, we'll be sending out to the public. We have some that are already sold out already. Those were internally, so I apologize for that. But it's a hot ticket, hot commodity, right, Adriel?
Yes.
Did
Very
anybody
hot ticket.
register for mine?
There is a couple people that have registered for the rustikish one.
Good.
Yours
So,
is open and it's not sold out yet.
yeah, his is open. East Coast, we don't really sell those. We send them out to the public and then they sell it. They don't sell it internally.
Adriel, I got
In minutes.
Adriel,
Full
I got like the best IPSC range in Canada, and I can't get anybody to show up to a level 2 match. So yeah, SummerSlam, no problem, because everybody from away comes. But I put on like a 12 stage level 2 match for 4 people. Nope. So,
But
it's the Maritimes. We're all poor and don't want to work, according to Harper.
it will sell out. Woodstock, it's pretty much I think there's only maybe 2 spots left, so it's almost sold out. What else did I do? Oh, speaking of which, getting ready for Maple Seed, I went out to the trailer, and thank God there was no snow, but the ground where our trailer is out at somebody's farm, because one, it's easily accessible because it's right off the highway, but it's also I live in suburbia, so we can't store it here. The trailer itself, I was able to go into it and take inventory, take everything out, make sure that there was no critters in there and it wasn't flooded, and neither of those things happened. And so I was able to restock it, because guess what? We have a Maple Seed this weekend in CFB Petawawa, so we're going to go and do that.
Coming up.
Yes, and speaking of CFB Petawawa, there's 3 feet of snow. Yeah. So, and apparently Morgan Marshall. Hi, Morgan. Morgan Marshall went out and checked things out on the ranges, and the one that the CRPS match is on. Yeah. So he went out and he sung up to his hips in mud. So, and not.
I'd rather
not
snow than
knees.
mud.
I don't
Hips.
believe you. He did not sink to his hips.
He did. He said, "I sunk to my
He'd have
hips."
to be in the swamp on Oak Island to sink to his hips.
So
Yeah, but he'd find a sword if he was out there.
yes, he would.
Excellent.
Yes, he would. So the other range, which Project Maple Seed is on, is a little bit not as hippie. I don't know. It's not as hippie. It's a little bit. There's still snow. 3 feet of snow. Yeah, that's it. That's all I did for guns. Kind of. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Upcoming events. Matthew and Trevor will be hosting a Furlachi Fundamentals and Beyond Fundamentals course on May 4th and 5th at the Thomaston Corner Shooting Range near Fredericton, New Brunswick. To register or for more information, please email slamfireradio@gmail.com. Do you guys still have spots open for that?
We do.
Still spots open. There's going to be a CCFR RSO course May 25th and 26th at Dalhousie, New Brunswick. For information on that, email Trevor, I guess. Trevor, yes?
I'm sorry, I'm typing something. What do you want?
RSO, your CCFR RSO course. Do you want people reaching out to you or no?
Yeah, through my Trevor.Furl at firearmrights.ca.
There you go. Perfect. Why don't we move on to the news? The first one I have here is the C-71 was gutted in the Senate. Do you guys follow this?
A little bit, yeah. Not a whole
So-
lot, but a little bit.
Based on what we talked about with Tracy the other week, does this mean that this thing's toast?
No, it means that they're recommending amendments and they're sending it back to the House of Parliament, and for them to make amendments on it. So basically, yeah, it's pretty much toast because
Yeah.
they.
Is this toast? No, not really. What they're doing is
Well,
yeah,
no,
pretty much
yeah,
toast.
it's pretty much
There
toast.
for.
I'm saying
It-
that because of the fact they're not going to have time to put it
The
through before
fact?
they rise.
Right.
Oh, stop!
It's
Before
not
they-
toast. It's not toast unless they actually get to open it up and make an amendment. That will slow it down.
They've sent it back. They're not going to pass it. They're
Yeah, the
making
senators have
recommendations.
said, no, you need to fix this before
Yes.
we're going to readdress it.
Right, and so they send it back, or they're sending it back, and then
Yeah.
once that happens,
And
they
that
have
delays enough that we don't have
Right.
to worry
It
about
will.
it.
They don't
will
have
be-
enough time.
Right. So hopefully the Liberals don't get elected in the election, and
Well,
Been
I
said
think
it
we've
is.
got a pretty reasonable chance of that happening. So cool.
Yeah, one of the lines in here says this from the senators is this approach will not make Canadians safer.
Nice.
Love it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's from Plett, right? And he's too common sense for this kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, he can see where it's not going to work.
Yep.
Which is good news.
Yes, it is. Very good news.
Any of you guys read this other article about the I treated victims at the École
Yes.
Polytechnique massacre? I'm sure I'm massacring that school name, but
École
École
Polytechnique.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Close enough.
any takes on it? Hot takes. Just share it on Slimefire Radio and let people read it themselves.
I didn't read it, so I don't have. I'm
I read
sort of
it.
skimming it now, but
so the person that wrote it was in the National Post, I believe.
Mhm.
Yes. So the person that wrote it, he's a doctor. He's a doctor who is currently in Ontario. Yes, Ontario, and he was talking about the fact that he treated he treated a 7-year-old who was shot by a shotgun. That a teen
Accident. Yeah.
yeah, it was an accident. And then he also spoke about he was there the night of the shooting at the École Polytechnique. He was the one that went into the school and he pronounced those that were there dead. He said that he's seen lots of shooting victims in the emergency room. But he's also somebody who's a firearms enthusiast, and he said that C-71 is not going to be helpful for what.
yeah, one of his lines here, he says, "I support only reasonable and thoughtful approaches
Correct.
to curbing injury and death to firearms. This petition and the call for a ban are neither."
Neither.
So, again, another person who sees through the BS and goes, "Well, this is dumb. Why are we taking guns away from the good guys? The bad guys are getting the guns anyway."
The other thing that should be noted is he said that the doctors for gun control are a very, very small minority. A lot of doctors, he said the majority of doctors aren't in agreement with that group. And a lot of them are afraid of speaking up because of repercussions. But he's somebody who felt the need to do it.
Yeah, that's one reason why I don't really like the but doctors kill lots of people through medical malpractice thing, because I think that this is not all doctors, and like just kind of slandering them, saying that doctors kill lots of people too is a wrong approach. Because I think a lot of doctors out there are probably just staying quiet because there's probably a lot of their colleagues who are more left leaning, and they just don't want to ruffle feathers, right? They don't want to talk about why they think it's a bad idea.
Adriel, I think
Yep.
one of the arguments about the kind of pointing out the doctors is to just try and get the public to change their focus. If we could reduce malpractice deaths by 1%, we would save more lives than are killed by guns. So are we trying to improve the quality of medicine? Are we having that conversation? No, but we sure are talking about guns. If we are having the conversation about reducing malpractice, it's not in the limelight. But what is in the limelight is doctors saying that we need to keep Canadians safe from guns when guns kill less people than doctors. So you see how it comes back to, wait a second, you're picking on the guns, but who's picking on you? You guys aren't perfect. Leave the guns alone. Fix yourselves.
Yeah, I get that, but like it's not just it's not a vast majority of doctors fighting against this. So to say that,
True.
oh well, doctors like throwing the whole group under the bus, saying that they all contribute to all these deaths is not as constructive as it could be.
There are some doctors who are pretty vocal about it. I know a couple about they're supportive of the gun community. They're shooters themselves, and then there's others that are kind of hypocritical. So hey, it is
Yeah, we have two or three doctors that I know of in my gun club. Plus, you've got Dr. Colin Langman. If you don't know who he is, you have been out of the firearms community loop for some time.
He testified at the Senate hearing.
He basically killed the long gun registry. So
yeah.
Needless to say, he doesn't agree with these doctors that want to keep us safe from guns. He wants to focus on the actual root causes of violence and crime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the right things to focus on, I think. Anyways, it's a great read. So I'll include it in the show notes and leave that for other people to read up on if they want. This other one, this is American news, but I thought it was just kind of interesting. So in America, when something is banned, their de facto thing to do is to grandfather everyone in on whatever the thing is. And it is the thing. It's not the person. So you don't get a grandfather license, but all the objects are grandfathered. And they just had high capacity magazines, regular capacity magazines, come back into play because these bans on 10 rounders the ban on standard capacity magazines was ruled unconstitutional, and therefore there's this huge run on them.
Yeah, it was. Then, here's the thing, though. A week later, they got it stayed, which means that it's being challenged. And so there was only 7 days where they were legal to buy because they had to say, okay, no, hold on, we got to double check this, basically. But in those 7 days, they're like hundreds of thousands of purchases. Like they crashed websites buying these standard capacity mags. Like it just, crazy. So hopefully the state doesn't stay in place and they do actually overturn this because this is ridiculous. Standard capacity magazines are just normal capacity. I do like one of these quotes in here by the executive director of the Coalition to Stop Gun Violence. So this is definitely an anti-gun guy. This is a bad guy in our opinion here. He says, I think about the numerous shootings that are often stopped when someone jumps in when the shooter is reloading. I've literally never heard of that happening before. Ever. It's like in the movies. It's like click, click. Oh, he's out. Let's rush him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like something that you.
It doesn't seem like in New Zealand.
Almost, but coincidentally happened yet. But it's I don't think most people are thinking clearly enough to do that kind of strategy in a high stress situation.
If I'm in an active shooter situation, I'm not going to be sitting there counting. Well, looks like he has a Glock 17. That means he's got 10 rounds because he's in Canada. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. Get him! Oh, he had one in the pipe. Dang it! Like it's too
he took the pay. He got some 17 rounders. Those prohibited magazines.
You're not allowed to take the rivet out. I'm calling the cops on you.
So from now on, it's going to be impossible to enforce this because. There's no way of knowing, like they don't serialize magazines, so it's not like right.
So you can show up to the range now. I mean, I obviously don't advocate this. Don't do anything illegal because we told you to. That was weird. We've never tried to do anything illegal. But yes, technically any high capacity mag could be shot at a range now or in California, and there'd be no way of knowing whether or not it was pre or post.
What do you mean range? What do you mean by range?
Well, they don't have to go to a range, but a lot of guys in California still do shoot at a range.
Anyway. Wherever you go, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Or legal to just start a firearm. If you got a full cap mag, there's nothing to do about it.
That's right. There's nothing they can do about it now. Well, what they can do is they can stop people from buying them now. So whatever is there, but they can't buy anymore.
Yes, you got it. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, like I said, hopefully this ruling stays and they get their freedom back.
Well, it'd be cool if it's the start of more reasonable gun laws in the states, because there's some states where they've been stacking on unreasonable measures over and over and over again. It would be nice for this to be the stop of that and the start of repealing of some of these just more onerous, ineffective legislations. All right, new gun stuff. Did you guys know that the Remington RP9? I don't know. Was this the price before? I see that Bullseye London has the RP9 for $350. Was this the price before?
No, it was not. Oh man, that's funny. You know, a gun's not selling when
it sells for just over what the Gersans sell for.
That's horrible. It's a horrible gun. Don't buy it.
It's almost toast. When they're selling them for like that for that price, I'm sure they're just clearing them out, and then they're probably not going to make it.
Yeah, but it comes in a nifty form-fitted pistol case. Did you see the picture of that? It's not form-fitted at all. It's like just hack out like sort of something that looks like a gun and chuck it in there.
Yep, that
It's
sounds like
$350.
Does it come pre-rusted?
It might.
Oh, it's slathered in oil. I'm looking at the picture here. It is literally wet from oil so that it doesn't rust.
Where was I when this thing came out? This thing, I don't remember this.
We talked about it a couple times.
Yeah, it came out after the R51 fiasco. They came out with a full-size polymer striker-fired gun.
No, I don't like it.
No. I mean, I've held them. I've manhandled them.
Slide's chunky.
Slide is chunky. Like, it's just the bad. It's all kinds of bad.
Remington does rifles and shotguns. They should just stick to that.
And even that, they had recalls on the 700 and the 870. Give me up. Like, your two flagship models since the 50s. Come on.
Well, the finishes that they've been putting on these days. I can't say that because I haven't touched anything that's been like brand new, but the stuff like say 10 to 5 years ago would have like terrible finish issues and would rust like really easily. Saw that with Remington, and I saw that with Marlins once Remington was running their stuff as well.
I got lucky. I got my 870 Express Magnum just before they started to go to crap. My Versamax is fine, and my 597 is definitely fine. But and my 700, but I mean, we stripped that and built a target rifle out of it. But yeah, I wouldn't be buying a new Remington anything right now.
Yeah. Tendas has a whole bunch of LAR mags. They've got a bunch of stuff in stock right now, 308 LAR mags, which for just recently here were actually kind of hard to find, but it looks like they've got a bunch of those back in country.
Tenda?
Yep.
Off I go.
So if you're looking for some 308 mags, they've got a bunch of those. They've got 5 and 10 round 308 mags, little short guys. And then they've got the short or the long LAR mags for 223. So if you want a 223 mag that's full size but 10 rounds, they've got those.
Oh, I love those. I'm gonna get one of those too.
There you go. They've got really good pricing. It's hard not to look at their stuff and buy a couple things while you're there.
Yeah, because you gotta make up for the shipping.
Gotta get that free shipping. Yep. Maple Ridge Armory's X1 handguards you mentioned for your stag there, Trevor. Mag pump. Did you guys take a look at this thing?
I'm looking at it. I haven't played the video because I don't want to get distracted, but this looks weird.
You got to play the video. It's weird. The 223 makes sense. They've got this thing that basically a hopper on the top. You pour all your bullets in there, and you just and just loads up the mag. It's magic. But the 9mm one looks like a lot of work for that. Wouldn't actually save you a whole bunch of time. The 223 I get. Because it's got a hopper. There's only one kind of Stanag mag, so they don't have to have little adapter plates and that kind of thing or other weirdness. And you just pour a bunch of ammo in there and just start going at it. But it's I wouldn't see a lot of use for something like this.
Better. Sorry, I just I mean, this looks. I can load pretty quick.
Not as quick as this thing, but I mean, you just have to reload for yourself at the range, right?
I don't need to bring a bench with me to mount it to make it work.
Exactly.
Yeah. This is more of like a permanent fixture. Maybe if you were doing, I don't even know what kind of class you'd be having to do to reload this many mags. If you were a military trainer and you're training 20 guys who all had the same gun and they all went and shot a course of fire and then had to reload their mags afterwards, maybe this would make sense because then you can just like crush through them.
Dude, those 308 mags for your like Stag 10 or your
Yeah.
BCL, they're like super cheap.
Yeah, man. Like
$30.
Yeah.
You can't buy a pistol mag for $30. Well, this is a pistol mag. Haha.
You can get a 308 pistol mag for $30.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got $30 5 or 10 rounder pistol mags.
Well, this is a 10 rounder.
And if you want to get the LAR version,
okay, so listen to this. This is not very clear. XCR, we know what the XCR is, right?
Mhm.
The XCR made by Robinson Armament, 308, 10
Mhm.
round,
Mhm.
AR-15 pistol magazine.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Close enough. Close enough. Come on.
Close enough for government work.
Yeah. Yeah, $30 is a crazy good price for that kind of thing. Yeah, okay. Mag pump. They're coming in. I don't see much of a use to it. Like even you guys have seen that the ETS cam loader that I've got. Like if you're loading mags out of a box of factory ammo, you cannot beat the speed on that thing. Like even with this, you can't beat it because that's the one that has those two fingers, and you just strip off your 10 rounds off the box. You pop your mag in, you strip them in, and you off to the next mag, kind of a thing, right? Yeah. Anyways, I don't know if you guys have seen this. Trevor, you've probably seen this because you're all up on the Instagram. But S&J Hardware is doing magazine base pads for $25 now.
No, I don't follow S&J.
Oh, well, he's got Canadian-made aluminum base pads that run on the CZ, some other stuff, Seg 226, Beretta 96, Tangfo, High Power, and a couple of other things. They're $25.
Cool.
So, yeah. I like seeing that there's a bit more competition here for those kinds of things because I couldn't justify spending $50 on a little chunk of aluminum that sits on the bottom of my magazine.
Yeah, it seems like a lot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Done that.
25 sounds about right. I'll pay my 25 every single day.
I paid no, did I? Yeah. I lost a 1911 mag for my STI Trojan. And when I got the Dawson mag with the Dawson mag the base pad, tax and shipping, $98. Yeah. I think I pulled the plug on that. I went, no. I'm not spending $100 on one magazine. This is ridiculous.
You have a 2011, don't you?
I have 1911s and 2011s.
Don't you 2011 mags cost you like $100 anyways?
No, the new STI mag with the aluminum base pad is in the it's under 90 anyway. It's for sale, by the way. My 2011, my Apiro with the DVC grip. Just saying.
What caliber?
40.
Wrong caliber. All right.
You're right.
All right. Next up, we have Delask has Ordnance Group 37 millimeter flare launchers that kind of look like M203s that you can put on the bottom of your AR-15. They've got.
If we could launch flares during one of the 3 guns, I'd totally get one.
You can't
do that. I don't know.
Probably start a fire. Like launching a flare at the ground sounds like a great way to start a fire.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what we could do.
Start a fire?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why not?
It's like stage 1, start hands in air, surrender position, facing uprange, on signal, turn around, start a grass fire.
Yeah, sure. First one to light the grass on fire wins.
Anyways, if you're looking for something like that to start your own grass fire, check out the Delask Arms.
They seem like they'd be super fun to play with, but just practicality wise, not there. But super fun. It's like those
and looks, right? Because I think some guys set up their AR-15 for looks to make it look cool, right? And
like those golf ball guns and pop can guns. I mean, those are just entertainment as well. So I mean, this just goes in with those, except these look cooler. But I still think they'd be fun to play with.
Yeah.
I just don't know where could you because I can't see any range going. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, shoot your flares here at the range. So you'd have to put it on something non-restricted. Huh?
Put it on an SLR or put it on a Mars Sporter. Yeah. And then you've got a non-restricted flare launcher gun thing.
Yeah. And then you could shoot your deer and barbecue them right there in the woods.
Where's your deer? It's over there with you see the bright flash and there. It's cooking.
There. Marked them. I like it. That's a great idea. New hunting tech gear.
There we go. Hunting. Yeah. Should put it on a website or something. All right, why don't we head to the main topic?
All right.
Do you guys want to do practice sessions? Is that still cool?
Yeah.
Yes, sure. Why not?
Awesome. The only reason why I wanted to bring these up, I've been doing them recently here because we've already had one match, and we're heading into another match. And I've just last night I was just practicing for the 3-gun match coming up. So maybe just to break this down, how often do you guys practice? Do you guys practice over the winter or not practice over the winter? When do you guys practice? How often?
Not often. Got to be not often. I occasionally dry fire. I'll get the Glock out, and I have I forget what it's called, that thing where you put it on there and it has the gyroscopes and stuff.
Mantis?
Yep, the Mantis X. Thank you.
Every
now, that's how often I use it. I forget what it's called. Every now and then I break that out, and I will do some dry fire. I very rarely, I have in the past, but very rarely do I put on my belt and actually do holster draws and stuff. I should, but I'm just not competitive enough to care, I guess. But I dry fire practice on a semi-unregular basis, I guess.
So
but that's
that like once every couple of months, once every 3 months?
Maybe once a month. Maybe once a month I'll do that. So it's not a whole lot. And the only time, I don't know, I every now and then will pick something up around the house that has a trigger on it, like my cordless drill or whatever, and then I'll because like you do, you bring it up to your eye and you pretend to squeeze a trigger and you're like, oh yeah, I should actually practice for real, and you get it out and you go, oh man, I am jerky, and then I focus down on it for a little while and get my trigger pressed down real smooth again, and then I put it away and forget about it for a while, and then until I pick up something else like a Windex bottle, like, oh yeah, I should practice again. So I don't really have a consistent practice regime, but I do occasionally, and I will definitely get a little bit more religious about it whenever I have a class coming up that I'm teaching with Trevor, or if there's a match coming up. I'll totally get out the Glock then, and I really do some dry fire practice before a match or before a class with Trevor, just because, I gotta, especially for the class, I really want to make sure that I know what I'm doing whenever I get there.
Well,
So,
since you're talking, what does one of those practices look like? Like, how long is it, and what are you focusing on?
I'm length of time is until the baby starts crying, or the dishes need to be done, or the cat meows at me or something. Like I'll go until I get distracted by something else. Typically, I don't know, 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, so not super long. And the focus of it is always trigger press, sight alignments, grip, and stance. Just
Fundamentals.
The basics, just the absolute fundamentals. And the cool thing about the Mantis X is with the phone, you can actually set the phone up sort of across the room and actually aim at it. And it actually kind of works sort of like a target. And so I can track my own sight to see how well I did. And the phone gives me immediate feedback as to whether or not that trigger press was actually good. And I found it has actually helped quite a bit, because there have been times, especially earlier on, when I went click, that was a pretty good trigger press. And I'd look at it and go, no, it wasn't. No, that was actually pretty bad trigger press. I can do better than that. And I know I can. What did I do wrong? And sometimes we are sometimes we're our own worst critics, but sometimes we're our own worst congratulators. It's like, yes, I'm doing great. And sometimes we need a little kick in the pants to go, oh wait, no, you're not. You need to smarten up, do a little bit better.
Do you think that with the Mantis you have been practicing a little bit more?
Yes,
It motivated
definitely.
you?
Absolutely. That is I don't like gimmicky things. I don't like people buying stuff just because and I certainly don't just buy stuff because it's the latest rage, but this thing is actually something that and even if it didn't do everything that it does, and it does do a lot of things, which is really cool, the very fact that it has motivated me to actually get the gun out and dry fire practice every now and then. I dry fire practice way more often than I used to because I have it, and it's because I get that feedback and I get to be a little bit competitive with myself. Can I do better than I did last time? So it's cool to have that, an actual metric or an actual instant feedback as to, yeah. So anyway, yes, I think it's worth it. I think even just to make you practice more often, it's worth it. And it doesn't have to be the Mantis X. Anything that gives you feedback on your shooting, I think is a fantastic thing.
Very cool.
That's pretty much all I do.
Cool.
Yep. Kelly, what about you?
I haven't been doing a lot of it lately. I have been doing a little bit of pistol practicing with respect to dry firing, but I also going to the range with friends because of the fact that I want to get into a little bit more pistol as well. So setting up a just different stages and just trying that out, getting into more of the steel challenges with pistol and just trying to brush up on it and get a little better at it as well, because I mainly shoot rifle and the pistol is not something that I get a lot of practice in. So Kelly Kincaid is somebody that I've been doing that with, so it's always nice to go to the range and have fun with a friend. But that way we can also, when we go, for example, there's a steel challenge that's on the 20th. I'm still hoping to go to that, and there was a match that was going to be on July 1st, but I can't be there because I'm going to be in New Brunswick that I was hoping to go to. Dry fire, I have a target that is right beside the TV, so we can do that one just laying on the couch and practicing the trigger pull. One of the things that I was doing with rifle, with just because I'm supposed to be able to shoot a 210 or greater, which I can generally do on demand. So one of the things that to get there, you have to be able to get down into position, practice transitioning. So do that with your rifle. And then also I thought one of the biggest helpful things for me, so anybody who's going to be at a Maple Seed this year, practice inserting your magazines and doing the mag changes, and also practice getting into position with the transition. Because if you are able to practice that, you will shave time, you'll be more fluid, you'll be more confident in your ability to do it. And because when we put the time crunch on, so that's one of the things that I recommend people practice, and it's gonna be helpful. So if you want to be able to achieve a rifling score, you're going to need to do that. I did that quite a bit. I don't do it that much anymore. I'm pretty confident in my ability to do that. Still do it every once in a while, especially if I haven't shot in a while. I'll do that. I gotta have some drink. And then every once in a while, I'll just go to the range as well and take these challenge targets, and I'll shoot those as well. So I try to do it at least once, if not twice a month, and take those, because there's all kinds of different challenges there, whether it's seated, prone, whatever it is, but it's also a know your limits as well. So it's always good to pull those up. I've actually pulled all of the challenge targets for the past couple of months, probably about 7 or 8 months, printed those all off and taken them out to the range and shoot them, and that way I can just brush up on them. So
yeah, I mean, the cool thing with those Maple Seed targets is a little bit different, right? So if you want a little bit of encouragement, there's a little bit of different things going on with each one of them.
Yep. So I always find that they're fun. You know, this month is shooting a bunny. Well, we're not shooting the bunny. We're shooting the basket. But I do believe that there's going to be some bunnies with no faces.
There goes the Easter bunny.
Collateral damage.
Oops, sorry, kids. No eggs this year.
Proper thing.
But so the biggest thing is practicing make changes, practicing transitions, also trigger pulls as well. Make sure that you're holding the trigger back. Make sure that you're not slapping the trigger, and you can do that anytime. Downstairs in the basement, I have this 20 foot. Yeah, it's about 20 feet, and I just drop down and get into position. Now, that being said, it's a whole different ball game when you get out onto a range and you got your jacket on, you got your boots on. That's one of the differences I found when I got into seated position and I didn't have any boots or anything on. It wasn't the same as when I was on the range and I had all of the equipment and all of the boots and jackets. So it is a little different, but that's
awesome.
me.
Trevor, what do you do to practice for a session or over the winter?
Over the winter, I dry fire, and I actually use an app like Matthew uses the Mantis X. I've got a cheap knockoff version of it that I couldn't get working, so I gave up on it, and I downloaded an app called Dry Fire Par Timer, and you can search for it in the Google Play Store by that name, Dry Fire Par Timer, and I am going to excuse me, sorry, mute time. So it actually has drills built into it, Adriel. So we all know that dry fire sucks. Get the Ben Stager book, learn how to dry fire effectively, mix up your dry fire so that you're actually doing something. Whether you're practicing live fire or dry fire, you've got to practice with a purpose rather, and have a plan. So with this app, there's different drills built into the app, and you can adjust the par time. So it's hard to get bored. You'll get tired before you'll get bored because you can move on to another drill or another exercise, always trying to increase the par time. So
Yeah, I'm just downloading it right now.
Okay. So I use that. The only dry fire I did this year, really, thank goodness I'm grateful to the match director for this year's nationals that took place in Winnipeg. The IPSC nationals took place in Winnipeg. One of the sponsors gave a set of those mini dry fire targets, so they're a scaled down version. You can also go to websites and say, this is the target I want to use. This is the simulated distance, and it'll print it out. And then you can print it on regular paper and in color and cut it out and glue it with a glue stick onto a piece of cardboard, so you can make your own dry fire targets. So if you only have 3 yards to dry fire in your man cave or your garage or whatever, that's fine. You can go to a website, and I believe Derek Merriweather, listener of the show, put me on to this. I think it was Derek. It seems like something Derek would do. He's a pretty smart fella. So anyway, so I try and keep my dry fire interesting by using scaled down targets, by using an app that has drills built into it. And the bulk of the dry fire I did this year was with my PCC. I had to kind of develop a new muscle memory of reloading my first and second reload off of my belt from a different location, because in PCC you can run your mags all the way up front like an open shooter typically does in IPSC or USPSA. I had to get used to that because, hundreds, well, not 100, anyway, lots and lots of mag changes where my first mag came from the side of my body. Now I would just, if I didn't practice, I would naturally just go right past my first 3 magazines to my hip. So that was the bulk of my dry fire this year, just with the PCC to get accustomed to mag changes. And I obviously didn't do it well enough because the first 2 PCC matches I shot, I was not inserting the mag correctly. It was not, getting it seated into the firearm, and I ended up doing tap racks like a chump. So now the summertime, when I go outside, I bought Ben Stager's other book called Skills and Drills, and it's full of drills that will help you develop skills. Clever name. And that's what I'm going to use this year. In the past, I used to just do drills that I watched on YouTube, or there were other programs that are kind of outdated now, but that were given to me when I first started into IPSC. So I never just go and make it up. I always try and make the most out of my range time and use a proven drill that other pros use. And with the Ben Stager book, there's room to write in it for baseline and how to track your progress and stuff like that. So that book not only gives you drills, but it helps you develop a training plan, so you'll know what you're doing and when. So that'll be this summer. But this summer is starting off with a class. Now, I took a class last year at the end of the season, I believe. It was after Nationals anyway, because I bought my 2011 Apiro at Nationals, and I shot it in that class. So sometime in the late summer, early fall, we had a class with Canadian champion and ex-Medal Pro staff Alex Burdett. He came to our range and did a class, and he's coming back this year to do a class. And no, you can't get in. It's a private class. There's only 5 of us. So we're definitely paying up because the class costs what it costs. And normally you keep the cost down by bringing in more guys, but we're like, you know what? We're not hobos. Let's pay through the nose and get more
The
one-on-one.
poors. You're not one of the poors.
Not one of the poors. No, we're gonna pay through the nose and not have hobo training. We're gonna have a lot of one-on-one. It's good for me. It's good for Matthew. It's good for our class. Matthew wasn't at the last one. He won't be at this one, but as always, whatever I learn, I share with Matthew because we're co-instructors. So I think he owes me money. It's probably what's going to happen here. He should start helping to pay half my tuition, right, Matthew?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. Never.
But when Matthew gets settled a little bit, he'll be taking classes again too. That's one thing we tell our students always. Like, you should take classes from instructors who take classes
That's
and always want to up their knowledge. So Adriel, my season's going to start with a class in the month of May. Before I get into my outdoor matches, I will be taking a class, and so the drills that we're taught at that class will make up the bulk of my practice sessions.
That sounds like a really great way to start your season off, because it's not just a little bit of practice. It's a full session with a class and someone else who's experienced watching and telling you where you need to improve and diagnosing stuff you can't see yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
anything else?
No, but I like that last part you made. Shoot with someone who can diagnose you. You know, there's nobody at my club that can usually pick up on my little mistakes. Even Matthew and I have a hard time to pick each other apart. So it's important to shoot with people that are better than you, who can tell you what you're doing wrong. And when you get to a certain level, it gets more and more difficult to do. But I'm not at a level yet where I can't be helped. It's just harder to find people who can. And I don't mean, I'm a quote unquote A-class shooter. Well, I don't have any masters or grandmasters at my club. You know what I'm saying? So A-class is not all that in a bag of chips, but there's no grandmasters for me to chase around. So it makes it difficult.
Mm-hmm. Well, for myself, I'm primarily practicing for 3-gun matches. So I went through the winter without really doing much. I think I dry fired a couple of times, but
you went to those indoor matches, though.
Yeah,
didn't you?
I did do a couple of indoor matches, and I did practice for those. Yeah, well, geez, my winter is almost over, and I've already forgot it. Yeah, so I guess I did do those indoor matches, and I did. Normally what I'll do is, like, a couple of days before a match, I'll just put my belt on, practice some holster draws, practice some mag reloads. And that's been primarily because I've been really messing with my mag pouches over the winter. I went from bullets forward to bullets out. I changed where my mag pouches are. I changed the angle of them, and I've wanted to refamiliarize myself with them so that I'm not hunting around looking for a magazine on my belt on the timer, kind of a thing. Because, like, while I was using those pistol matches as practice, I didn't want to practice something that I could practice myself in 5 minutes of time. So that was my logic in making sure that I had practiced some of the basics, like drawing the gun out of the holster and not being confused because it's not the holster I usually use, or using a different mag pouch or something like that. So that's what I did with those winter courses, is just practice some real basic stuff. For 3-gun this year, I did the same thing, but just not with all the guns, because I didn't practice my rifle. But man, can I even say this? The rifle, there's not as much gotchas with a rifle. Like you grab your mag as you drop it, you put a new mag in, you get steady in however which way you're going to get steady, and you keep going, right?
Right. Yeah.
But with shotgun reloading, boy, you can screw that up bad. Like you can lose a match. Yeah. You can lose a match with dumping a bunch of rounds on the ground and not having enough rounds at the end of a stage, and losing gobs of time from failures to engage, right? So I have been practicing my shotgun reloading maybe like a couple of times before each match. So I'm practicing pulling dummies off the belt. I'm practicing doing my quad loads on my shotgun. And I don't think most people practice at all. I think, especially with our first match of the year here in March, I saw a lot of people who hadn't practiced loading their shotgun, and they were doing it for the first time for that year on that first stage.
And you could tell.
Oh yeah,
And that's why you smoked them.
Well, yeah, and that's why, because I wasn't running balls out in that match. I wasn't running like a hard, fast, trying to like go 100% all the time. I was running a pretty safe match. There's money on the ground, anyways. You can't run, but that's enough. I think that consistency is really what I was going for. So that's what my practice regiment has been. If you can even call it a regiment for the spring here, is I have been practicing some of the ones where you can make a large mistake, like shotgun reloading, like pistol reloading, like draws, making sure that it all feels nice and natural, so that when I go into the match, all that stuff is consistent. I'm not going to have a meltdown. It's just going to run. And I did a video of like really reloading some shotgun shells, and it's not actually how I practice. I because I wanted to, I don't know, just show like in the video how often I flub it up. So in the video, I stopped whenever I like really screwed something up, I would stop and I would reset. But normally when I'm practicing, I try to push through those flubs, because if you're reloading shotgun shells and you drop one in a match, you're not going to stop.
No, you're just going to keep
deal
going.
with it.
You have to keep going. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
how you should practice too. But you're right. For the purpose of your video, you can stop and show them what you did wrong and why you did it and how you would fix it and blah blah blah. But yeah, when you're actually practicing for reals, whenever you mess up, go through it. Like, keep going. Pretend it's the actual match, because otherwise, when you get into an actual match and you mess up, you're going to stop and reset. You can't reset when the timer is going. You got to keep going. That being said, you don't want to practice mistakes. You want to practice perfectly. So if you're doing a holster draw and dropping the mag and doing a reload and then punching back out to target, and you keep messing that up, you need to slow down. You need to slow down and do it right, do it perfectly, and then slowly speed it up to the point where you can do it smoothly without messing up. You have to incrementally increase your time very slowly, so that you don't start practicing mistakes. And I see a lot of people, when they practice, they just go all the way as fast as they can and they start screwing up, and then they just, well, that's not helping you at all. You're just learning bad things.
Yeah, that was one thing that I wanted to ask you guys is how much you push in your practice for the best speed versus reliability. I tend to go a lot on reliability, because in 3-gun matches, you've got 3 firearms, you've got 6 stages in some of our matches, and a lost stage will kill you faster than just a couple of seconds here and there, right?
Right.
So I don't practice for shaving off tenths of a second. I practice for reliability more often than not.
In 3-gun, that's probably the best approach, because
even still, you still gotta push to your failure rate in practice. Find out how fast you can go before you start flubbing and dropping rounds on the ground, and then back up a little bit. But it's okay to drop rounds on the ground in practice. You got to push out of those safety zone or those comfort zones. You never grow in your comfort zone. The only way you're going to grow is if you push yourself out of it and reach a new plateau. And practice is the time for those pushing, for that hard push. That's where you're supposed to make mistakes. You're supposed to push yourself to make errors. And then in practice, in a match, consciously dial it back a few percent. So it's
I remember I was going to bring that up myself, Trevor. I forget what the numbers are, and the numbers are arbitrary. It doesn't matter, but it's exactly what Trevor said. You should never be shooting a match at 100%. Because that if you're doing it right, like Trevor just said, and correctly so, in my opinion, if you're doing it right, you're practicing to 100% in practice, and at 100%, you're going to mess up from time to time. So in your match, you're actually going to be faster if you bring it back to 90%, because now you're not going to have those screw ups, because at 90%, you can do everything perfectly. That's hard to do, though. Yep. It's hard to dial it back whenever you know you can go faster. And that's when you have to learn, where can I go as fast as I can without screwing up, and where do I have to bring it back? So when you're transitioning between targets, you go 100%, because you can run between targets as fast as you want, and you're probably not going to trip, because we've all been running for as long as we've been alive.
Well,
when you slow down a little bit, when you do your reloads. What's that, Trev?
You're going to learn how fast you can run past those targets in practice.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, true. That's right.
You got to run past them until you start missing them.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, now I know I've got to dial it back just a little bit. But if you practice safe, you're not going to grow. Practice to your failure point.
You don't practice safe to failure.
You don't practice beyond your failure rate. You don't practice beyond 110%.
Correct.
If you do that, you're not learning anything. If all you're doing is screwing up.
It shouldn't be the thing that you're ending on.
It back a little bit.
Yeah, that's right. It's important to back up when you find your screw up. That's right.
Yeah, and if you don't know where that is, then some people go to a match and they're like, all right, it's a match. I got to try hard today. And then, oops, they've discovered their breaking point in a match when it's not time to discover their breaking point. They learn that they just ran past that target array while shooting a little bit faster because they picked up a mic on the exiting target, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, like the what you guys are saying is true. Like you got to in practice is the time to develop and the time to find out where the failure point is. I think the thing for me is to, after I find it, is to dial it back and then practice at that speed a bit so that I can confirm that I am 100% reliable at that.
Yep.
And then do the match at that.
It's the same in a lot of sports skills, like taking a slap shot. Holy geez, yeah, I can send that puck flying at like 89 miles an hour, but I have no control over where it goes. But when I have a slap shot at 67, I can hit the top corner every time. But I don't want to, I need to eventually get the top corner at 74.
Yeah.
So I got to get that speed and then try and get the accuracy with that speed. So
Yeah, that's exactly it. Get the
Cool.
accuracy, build the speed, and then
And just practice, because I know a lot.
Practice.
Some of the guys I shoot 3-gun with are listeners, and I would just recommend to those guys to practice, because most of the people aren't. Most of the people are going to go to that match have not practiced between our March match and this April match, or maybe this is their first match of the year, and they're going to drop shells on the ground. They're going to need those shells, and they're going to get to the end of the shotgun stages short on ammo. And if they had practiced a little bit the day before and got a little bit more familiar with the shell caddies and the feel of them, that wouldn't happen.
or get a mag-fed shotgun.
Or get a mag-fed shotgun. Yeah.
Practicing is for chumps. I see guys on Instagram just doing these beautiful smooth quad loads, and I'll drop a little snarky comment like, dude, nice, almost as fast as a mag change. Because I gotta be
Yeah. No, it's It is, especially for 3-gun, where you've got 3 guns where you could lose it all. So it's important to be proficient with all of those to the point where you're not going to.
Yep. And I'd like to make just one final comment before we move on, because it feels like we're moving on. And that is to dispel the myth that practice makes perfect. And that's not the case. If you're practicing bad habits, if you're practicing things that are wrong, if you're simply turning money into noise, you're not going to get any better. And practicing once a week, I've been told by experts, is worse than not practicing at all.
really.
It's not enough to, practicing once a week is not enough to retain anything, and is actually counterproductive. Goes back to some of the Lanny Basham stuff that I've read. So practice with a purpose and practice with a plan, and seek assistance to correct so that you can get better. Just if you're just going to press the trigger, that's not practicing. That's just spending money.
Yeah.
Look
Well, and
at
if you're
practice
new, you
plans.
may not know what you need to practice, or where you're leaving the most
That's
time
right.
behind.
You're right. We're all new once upon a time, and none of us, we don't know what we don't know. So that's why I'm putting it out there. Go, if don't just go to the range and shoot your gun. Start now, day one. You want to get better? Start finding ways to get better. Start making a plan. Go to websites, download drills, download activities that you can do while shooting your gun. Get your baseline, get some data, and then go from there.
Awesome. Good point to end on. All right, listener feedback. Do we have any comments on the YouTube version?
Yes, Derek Merriweather wants to know, aren't we getting mag-fed shotguns, Adriel? Yeah, we are. What else? There is from Greg May. He says that the LAR mags that we were talking about, he said that he got them with free shipping. So go out there and do that. Brad Brown, he wants to know about gear question. He says, good optic for the Ruger Precision Rimfire rifle. What's your thoughts on that, you guys?
What do you want to do?
Is
with
it for
How far you want to-
CRPS?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would assume it is.
If it's for CRPS, then spend $1,000 and get or two and get something nice, or not.
Venom. Get a Vortex Venom, a high-end
Yeah.
Viper, or a Venom Razor.
I mean, didn't Brian win one of the CRPS matches with like a 1 to 5? I'm pretty sure one of the inaugural ones won or got second.
Yeah, he did, because
yeah.
he's in production. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like the oh man, that's the other thing. I was shooting Gophers with that Cabela's Covenant. I love it so much. The field of view is so good on that thing. It was so nice shooting with that thing. I had some other really nice scopes out there, but I really preferred that guy. The other thing that it has is it got that Christmas tree reticle, and when you're shooting Gophers and there's like a sand backdrop to them, you see the splash and like, oh, okay, it was on this mark here. I'll just move that mark onto the Gopher and
Bam.
one more trigger press and we're good to go. Yeah.
Love it. That's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I love scopes with a good field of view. Watch for that, because there are a lot of them out there that they're narrow. and they're useless. in my
Oh,
opinion.
my 17 scope, which is also a Cabela's scope, but they're 17 HMR caliber specific one, and it's the complete opposite. It's got a very narrow field of view, a very tight feeling scope, and does not feel as good as that Covenant does.
Yeah.
There's also, when we were talking about the doctor article, somebody, Yukon 12 gauge, he said, my doctor thinks skeet would be fun, but can never get out. He's a busy doctor. So we need to get more doctors that are less busy and get them out. Yeah, that's about it. Everybody after that was talking about Marty McFly.
Of course.
I'm glad we're
Slacker.
keeping it topical.
Yep.
All right, why don't we head over to listener feedback? Listener feedback is sponsored by Armory DC Gunsmith. Armory DC Gunsmith is a full-service gunsmith who specializes in firearms refinishing. He offers hot bluing, parkerizing, and Cerakote finishes, as well as wood refinishing. Check out his online inventory of new and used guns, firearms, accessories, optics, and more at dcgunsmith.ca. And you can follow him on Facebook and Instagram. Matthew, do you want to take this first one from Fusilier?
Fusilier. Yep. It's been a long time since we heard from him. Nice to see his name back in the emails. I'm playing catch up on a pile of back episodes. I think I had to catch up from last October. Well, now we know where you've been. I've been using a wet media separator for a couple of years to remove the stainless steel pins. I then have to lube my brass a little so that they don't get caught up on the powder flare dye on my Dillon Square Deal B.
Now he tells me.
Huh?
Now he tells me. I just
Otherwise,
experienced this the hard way.
Otherwise, the brass is so clean they hang up in the press. Trevor mentions adding a couple of shots of ballistol to the water as you remove the pins. Do you just mean a couple of shots from an aerosol can? Do you just add it to the water during the pin removal tumbling process? After the pins have been removed? I expect it doesn't matter, but I can't help to be curious as to what you do. Also, where in Canada can we get ballistol by mail order? Cheers from Fusilier.
Okay, so let's
What do you
start with
do,
the ballistol.
Here we go again. Another reloading thing with Trevor. All right.
So the ballistol is now distributed by North Silva. So any of the gun stores in Canada that purchase from North Silva, like Denis, but his order isn't in yet, SFRC got their stuff in and sold out immediately. Plus,
They got a resupply.
Okay, good.
Yep.
So they've got all kinds of different ballistol products and kits. There's also a website called Ballistol Canada. That's where I used to get mine from. Pretty pricey, like $64 for 4 cans, but worth every penny. Now,
Canada Ammo has it too.
there you go.
I saw it over there. Yeah.
So I take my water and I take the aerosol can and I do a 3 Mississippi count. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. That's what I put in. That's what Captain Andy recommended, and it works great. Then I take the drum from the tumbler and I then dump the brass with the pins into the basket, close out the basket, put the splash guard lid on top, and away I go. And then the pins go to the bottom, and the brass stays into the basket with a thin layer of ballistol that is imperceivable. You don't know it's there. You can't feel it. Your brass doesn't
So you
feel
can't perceive it, is what you're saying?
It's imperceivable, yes.
Imperceivable. Interesting.
It's almost like you can't even tell it's there.
Wow.
And then the brass goes through the press like butter. I was cleaning 8 pounds of 40 at a time every 3 hours for a couple of days, and a lot of it had to be ballistoled, if you will. And all I did was put some water in my media separator, put the ballistol in there, and just put fistfuls of brass in the basket and run it through the water and let it dry again, and it was good to go.
How much hot butter could you run through your press, though?
Hot butter through my press? Well, it doesn't have to be hot to go through the press.
Good point.
Yeah, but hot butter's better.
You're right. I could actually pour the hot butter down the case feeder tube as opposed to just jamming a block of butter,
Okay, sorry for the segue here. Not even a segue, but the tangent and the rabbit hole. Did you guys see that video of the guy that used bacon grease to run his lawnmower?
Yes.
No.
Was that not incredible?
Mm-hmm.
It actually worked, and it worked better than 10W30.
Like
Really?
in the block for oil?
Yes,
Yeah.
for oil. Change the oil with bacon grease instead, and it worked well. No, I wouldn't say way better, but it ended up being cleaner with hardly any carbon. And you imagine the smell? I'd cut my grass every day. Anyway, sorry, you talked about
You have
butter
to
as lube,
pre-warm
and I
it,
just
though.
had to go to the bacon
Interesting.
grease because there's nothing bacon grease can't do. I'm telling you.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Amazing. So yeah, that's. I hope that answers your question, Fusilier.
He's like, perfect, got it. Bacon grease in the press, nailed it.
Bacon
Speaking
grease
of square
on the
deals,
yeah.
instead of ordering those magazines, I went and ordered an inline fabrication ultra mount for my square deal.
Cool.
No,
Yeah.
all right.
Sweet. Kelly, did you want to take this one from Edmund?
Edmund. Okay, it says, hi, guys and gals. We're coming up onto episode 300. Congrats. It is going to be the modest 300. Is it going to be a modest 300 blackout or a thumping 300 Winchester Magnum? Speaking of 30 calibers, maybe you could have a segment about your favorite hunting rifles or perhaps battle rifles. Question for Adriel. Do you see many shotgun reloaders in 3-gun like the one in this video? He includes a video. I'm sure that you'll recognize the shooter. The video is 4 years old, but I haven't seen these reloaders around. Take care, keep up the good fight, and I look forward to the next 300 episodes, Edmund. P.S.
And that's because those
sorry.
he's using the plunger style reloader on the bottom of the shotgun. It's a Jerry Michelik video. And those kind of loaders are toast because we have mag-fed shotguns. So it's toast because of divisions. In 3-gun, if you're going open, you can run a mag-fed shotgun, and a mag-fed shotgun can run 10, 15, 20 round mags. And if you're in TAC Ops or something else, one of the other divisions, you can't use those plunger loaders that load in 5 at a time, and you got the quiver of shotgun shells in those in those caddies on the side. So that used to be the hot way of running an open shotgun, and it is no longer the hot way of running an open shotgun. In the States, they'll run a Vepr 12 gauge semi. Or I've seen this with what's the name of that? Rock Island Armory. They have I think it's also a Turk gun like we've got, but similar to the Typhoons and that kind of thing. And that's the way that you run open these days, is a mag-fed semi-automatic 12 gauge shotgun with a red dot on top. So that's why you don't see those tube loaders anymore.
We saw one at my last 3-gun, and they only worked 50% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there's like some advantages to it. You can top them up. You can top up your shotgun, which you can't do with a mag. But with the pump action mags around Canada, you can just pop in a new one. Who cares?
That's right.
Okay, he does have a PS here. He said he forgot to mention that. I forgot to ask if the show is still supported by the links from Brownells and Cabela's. They're listed on your website, but it's not often mentioned on the show. I did recently make a purchase from Cabela's through the link, so hopefully it helps.
Yes, they are, and thank you for your patronage.
We need to push that.
Yeah, we should.
Yeah. Keep forgetting about it. Should put it in like somewhere in our notes here so we don't forget it. If you'd like to email the show, send an email over to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Podcast app reviews. We don't have any reviews, but if you're listening to this on a podcast app, and you probably are, see if they've got some sort of review mechanism and try reviewing us on there. Helps the podcast get a little bit more visibility, and helps more people find out about it.
And Adriel will mail the first person who does it a sticker.
And I'll do that.
Perfect.
Shout outs.
I didn't access the notes, but I do have one. I don't even know the order, but I'm just going to go. I'm rude like that. To Brian
You're
Bolivar.
at the top of the list. Don't worry. We know who to put first.
Just going to interrupt us anyways.
I always come first, Matthew. Don't forget that. So to Brian Bolivar. Brian sent me out some Lee Enfield books, which I'm enjoying immensely.
Oh,
so
nice.
thank you, Bolivar.
Cool. Any other shout outs?
Nope.
That's it.
All right, on to Patreon supporters. Right now we have 85. Our newest Patreon is Sean M. He's sponsoring us for, is it 5 or 500?
$500. $500.
500.
500 million. 500 million. It's an M and then a 5, so it's 5 million.
It's 500, but I made Matthew promise to do some pretty bad stuff. Things that Kelly won't even do.
Oh, that's nice. That's not a lot, though.
There's stuff you can't do that Matthew can.
Oh, that's true.
What is that?
Yeah. So yeah, 50, 500, it's 5.
It's
Anyways.
5. Yeah.
It's
$5.
That-
Sweet.
that's
So
cool.
thanks, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Patreon supporters, you should have received a patch or sticker in the mail. And if you haven't, email the show at slamfireradio@gmail.com. If you want to help support the show, head on over to patreon.com/slamfireradio. Finally, please join one or more of our national firearms associations, such as the CCFR. Check us out on Gun Owners of Canada. And like us on Facebook. Right now, we're at 2,119 likes. Have a good night, everyone.
Goodbye.
Bye.
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.